All right, guys, welcome back to class 2, summary class. My bad. Welcome back to week 2 summary class. And I have few new participants, especially Whale. You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi class, Sovik. I messaged you privately. Yeah, it's pronounced Wale.
Wale, my bad.
Yeah,
Wale.
yeah. I am from the UK. I've been a manual tester for about 7, 8 years now.
Yeah.
Recently, the company I work for started driving towards automation, and at the
Mhm.
initial stage, they used an application called Eggplant. But then
Right.
we quickly realized that Eggplant wasn't really fulfilling everything we needed. So now we are using Selenium, and we've
Good.
got someone in who is very good with Selenium, who's built the framework. I am now working with him. However, I have zero knowledge of Selenium. So I met Sylvik in from a different training course that I couldn't continue, as he mentioned earlier. But I really enjoyed this class. I enjoyed how he structured it. I think he took the second lesson, I believe. And so when I realized I needed more coaching, I went looking for him, and I found him on LinkedIn, and we connected last week, had a good conversation on the phone. And when he showed me the way he's built his website, I was really impressed with the simulator, if you may, that comes right under the course content. And I am here to learn. If anybody is in the UK or anybody wants to connect, please feel free to message me privately.
Great. So, Ibrahim, you have a friend there to
No problem.
to help you. Yeah. So Ibrahim actually looking for a change desperately, and he is trying to get his CV up and running, and
Okay.
then he wants to get a job. And there are a few more people there. I think Chidinma is also there. So Chidinma can also probably get in touch with you guys, and you guys can talk to each other. Please connect me in the when most of you guys are in Slack, so you can first Slack each other, and then you can take it from there. Okay,
Yeah, sure.
that'll be really good.
Yeah, welcome, Wale.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. So I have missed last week to introduce Pavan. Pavan is my partner in this particular training. He helps me a lot in terms of creating assignments, the quiz programs that you see, the REPLs that you see. He is mostly taking care of those. I am taking care of the training. I'm taking care of my students. I'm trying to structure this application so that I can give you the best. And Pavan, could you please introduce yourself?
Hi, all. Very good morning. I'm into QA for a couple of years, QA automation. I had a requirement where I need to learn APM and REST API automation. Then in the first batch, I joined in Sovik's training course, and I felt it is good. And till then, I was associated with Sovik, and I am here with you. Thank you, Sovik, and good luck, all of you guys.
So how Pavan is basically helping us is, as I said, with assignments and everything, because he has got some good experience in terms of Selenium automation in general. So those things he's taking care of. When he's creating the assignments, I'm reviewing them and then making the changes, and that's how we are making the things progress faster. Secondly, he's also there in the Slack channel. So for each and every batch, we have a separate channel. And any question that you are posting me there in the channel, me or Pavan will be picking that up, and he will be answering you, or I will be answering you. So you can expect some interaction with him in the Slack for sure. Okay, so that's the situation there. All right, so I will get started with what we have. I know last week when we started the summary class, I believe that a lot of people probably didn't get time to cover up all 4 videos in the week 1. So I would like to know, as of today, what is the situation? Are you guys okay to, are you guys okay with class or week 1 videos? Are you guys able to complete the assignments? Do you want me to help you to, probably what I can do is I can help you guys to complete the assignments of week 1, then I'll start with week 2 discussion, and then I will complete the week 2 assignments. Does it sound good? Do you think it's okay? Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, because for me, for my part, I like to
Mm-hmm.
be practical. When last week,
Right.
when you said you should open week 2, for me, I will just confess, I didn't look at the videos. But after watching the videos and the amount of information, it's a lot to absorb and also to practice with the quiz. So week 1 was okay, but week 2 we're still going through. I'm on the third video.
Okay,
So I'll
perfect.
appreciate for the week 2 to be. We should stick to week 2 video
Yeah,
because we've got up to 7 videos in total.
yeah. So what I will do is, because last week, generally what I do in the summary classes, I get everybody in the class, and then I discuss the assignments that are given to you. That's the usual way of getting started with the class. And I will try to do the same thing today as well. I'm going to get started with my assignments first of week 1, and then I will switch to week 2 content, discuss all the topics around it, and then finally I'll go with the week 2 assignments. Let's do that, and let's see how it goes. All right, perfect. So let me go to week 1 assignments. So what I'll do is quickly um, the assignments that I gave you, right? Okay. So let's get started with the assignments, class 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So no, in class 1 there is no assignment ideally. Class 2, I think we have an assignment. Perfect. Okay. So let's get started with this assignments. They are pretty straightforward, guys. Nothing fancy in this. Okay, project package class main method, okay? Create a workspace, observe the folder structure, explore Eclipse layout, Java is case sensitive, explore at naming convention, okay? Create a project, observe the folder structure, create a class without package, observe the folder. Okay, this is just to get you guys warmed up with what is Eclipse and how you can start like creating a project, something like that. Then it says memorize the class syntax, create a class, observe the folder structure, create a class without main method and observe the folder. Okay, create a class with a main method and observe the folder. These are pretty simple stuff. Let me go to, these are all different tasks that are given to you so that you can get warmed up. And then finally it starts with this particular assignment number 1, which is the actual assignment. It says write a Java program implementing mathematical and concatenation operator. So if I just open that up, I'm going to give you guys all these assignments that I provide. So let me see. Week 1. Okay. So we have, this is V2. Okay, I mean, this is a very simple one, right? Assignment 1, add 2 numbers, multiply 2 numbers, subtract 2 numbers, divide the 2 numbers, and find the remainder of 2 numbers. So guys, to find the remainder of 2 numbers, can you guys tell me what was the operator that you have to use? I mean, these are, first 4 are very simple. What about this guy? Can you tell me what is this guy and how can I do it? Chidinma, can you tell me what is the answer for this? Find the remainder of two numbers. If you're not able to come on audio, can you just type it in? Okay, anybody else wants to try that?
The percentage sign, CISO.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Exactly. That's the modulus. That's the modulus that you have to use to answer this situation, right? Exactly. Yeah, Chidinma, you're right. That's a modulo. Perfectly fine, right? All right. Then what is this? Verify a number is even or odd. Okay. How do you do that? An even number is a number that is divided by 2, any number that is divided by 2, right? That can be an even. So, which means how can I get this thing done?
Just to check is result of the rest of the dividing is equal to 0.
Exactly. Not dividing, but the remainder.
Yes,
Not yeah. The remainder should be 0, and then by 2, remainder by 2. Sorry, the modulus by 2 is 0, and that's why you know that it is divided by 2, and so it's an even or it's an odd. That's simple logic. Convert a string to a lowercase. Well, the situation is assignment 2, I think. No, this is week 1, right? Pavan, do you remember where exactly is the right assignments? Yeah, I think this is the one, right? Yeah, exactly. This is the one. So this is the modulo 2, and it says even and odd. And there's another approach. So input number 4, I think it's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing. So you are getting a scanner to scan the data from your console, and then you are judging whether the number is a 2, I mean even or not. And here you are giving the number directly, and then you're running it, and you're seeing whether it is true or false. That's pretty much about it. Assignment number 3, I'm going to upload this guy, this whole solution of it right here in our. Yeah, hello.
Can I come in with a scanner to verify the number is even and odd?
Yeah, scanner is
Why you?
nothing. Okay, so scanner is nothing but. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. So the scanner is basically the scanner for the console. So if I run this, look at it. If I run this program right now, run as Java application, if I do that right now, it is blinking. This area is blinking, okay? It means it is expecting some kind of input, okay? You see this guy, this red guy, okay? It is not yet complete. So no, I think it is terminated. Why it is terminated? This is main. Okay, my bad. This is main 1. It should be main.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, no problem.
You need to verify the system out println, like enter the number you want to check before you initialize, after initializing the scanner.
No, so here it is, right? So here I'm checking, right? So input int number, int next int. So you have to give an int. Without an int, you're not doing anything. You cannot give a character or something like that, and you cannot expect that it will work. It will throw an exception. So let's try that. So if I just go ahead and just say run. So you see now it's saying input a number, and I'm going to give a number right now. And I'll say 54. So you see, as soon as this is happening at runtime, so this guy red is red, which means the Java program is still running. It's not yet terminated. It's still running. And if I hit enter now, it says 54 is an even number. I will run it again. And if I say some characters like this, I get an exception, input mismatch exception, because obviously it's a character or a string, and I will not be able to handle that. So scanner is basically used in case you want to get some information in from the user. You can use that, but from Selenium perspective or from any application perspective, you really don't want to use it, because you don't want your application to give an input. I mean, you don't want to really get data from your user through a console. You probably want to get data from a text box, but to handle that is a different situation. But this is how it is, right? Okay, what is the next guy? Next guy talks about convert string to a lowercase. Perfect. This is my string, and there is a very simple command that to lowercase, you can just convert that to a lowercase. Very simple as that, right? And so the string is the string class. This is a string class. I mean, it is a data type, but it is also a class. And this guy is having a method called to lowercase, which will convert that data to a lowercase, that string to a lowercase. As simple as that. What's the next one? The next one is talking about print the area and the perimeter of a circle. Print the area and the perimeter of a circle. So I was expecting you guys to do some research on it. Like if you look at my video, I have never spoken about math.py, and I will not, because I don't want to spoon feed you. I want you guys to start digging Google. Everything is available in Google. If you could just go and say, how can I find? So we know the formula of any kind of perimeter, like circle perimeter of a circle. So 2r pi, correct? 2 times r into pi is what our perimeter of a circle is, and we already know that. So if I can somehow figure out that the value of pi, ideally the value of pi is nothing but a constant. You can directly say, so you can directly say the value, I think is 3 point something. So that value, if you are able to pass it on over here, you can definitely execute that program, or you can just use the math class, which is coming from Java again, java.lang.math, and .py is a constant, which is why you see it's in caps, and it's in blue and it's caps, and that guy is a constant, and this guy is going to give you the value of the pi, which is stored in the Java program itself, and you run this guy and you get the value accordingly for perimeter and for the circle. Simple. That's how you do it. Okay. What is the next one? The next one is print the average of 3 numbers. Very, very simple. You just get 3 numbers. You can actually get 3 numbers through a scanner as well if you want to. And once you have that in place, then you just simply divide that by 3 and you get the result accordingly. It's just very, very straightforward. Run a Java application and you get the value as 3. Okay. Can you guys tell me a question to you? Can you guys tell me why am I getting the value as 50? Do I have an option to get this value in a decimal format? So for example, if I'm changing the value to maybe 2776, if I go ahead and if I run this, I get the value as 51, but I'm pretty sure that there is a decimal part to it, and I'm not getting that. Can you guys tell me why it is like so?
Because variable declared like integer. Yeah.
Right. So if it is an integer, then I will not be getting the decimal part of it. I have to change it, or I have to get the data in a float format. If I have it in a float format or a double format, that's where I divide it, and then I get the decimal part of it as well. But otherwise, I will just get the integer part only. So that's how it is. Yes, you have to initialize it with a float. Perfect. Thank you. What's the next one? The next one is talking about swap two variables. Perfectly fine. The question is swap two variables. There is one variable, there's a second variable, and I'm saying this as a temporary variable. Okay. The first value is this, second value is this. What I'll do is very simple. I will first go ahead and I will first simply convert or store the first value inside the swap value. So look at this. I mean, from if I want to draw this, it's very simple. So just a sec. So what I want to do is this is my first val. So I want to simply swap the value over here first. I will store the value of the first val to swap val. Swap val will have this value, okay? And then the second val that I have, that value I want to store it in the first val, okay? And then swap val is having the first val value that is stored earlier, that will be given to the second val. Simple, very simple logic to swap, right? That is what it is. So we can simply, we have exactly done the same thing over here, as you can see, okay? And that's how you can handle this. Very simple situation. Now the next one talks about check whether a Java is installed in your computer or not. Very simple. You can just go ahead and you can just give me one quick second. All right, sorry. So we have this particular situation where check the Java is installed in your system or not. You can easily get to know about these properties. Okay, system.getProperty. This properties you can easily get to know by a little bit of research. Java.runtime.version, Java.home, Java.vendor, Java.vendor URL, Java.class path, and everything can be easily found by simply calling this property keys. Okay, these are property keys. So system.getProperty, right? So for Java that you have installed in your system, what Java has done is they have added these information through their software into your system. Okay, Java has added these information to your system through the system. Now what happens is if I say system is a class, is a Java class, as you can see, is a Java class. System class contains several useful class fields and methods. It cannot be instantiated. Okay, it cannot be instantiated. It can be just simply, you can just call the method of it using just the dot operator. Okay, because this method is a static method. What is static? What is dynamic? We will talk about that in details, and that will make you understand what's going on. But system.getProperty, and then you say java.version as soon as you say that. So you basically get the information out of it. So all these keys are coming from the Java software that you have installed in your system. Now, if I just go and run this, I get all the values out here, right? So it just says that this is the class that I am, not the class, a project that I am referring to. Inside the bin folder. So I hope you guys know what is the bin folder is. I am talking about the class path. Okay, can you guys tell me why it is pointing to the bin folder? This could be a good question. Why it is pointing to the bin folder and not the actual .java or src folder? Why is that? Anybody? This is discussed at the very beginning of our class in the first or second video, first video, I believe. This is the path name. No, that's not the answer. Anybody else? Why I am pointing to a bin folder? I could have pointed to a src folder. Okay, what is a bin folder? Can you tell me what is a bin folder? This is basics, guys. Come on. I have discussed this in the class 1 as a part of JDK and JRE. And I have also shown you how the Eclipse works when you create a file.
The,
Yeah, go on.
the bin folder is where the compile files are copied to.
Exactly. So when you have a class and when you save that file, Eclipse will immediately create a bin folder, and inside that it will put the .class file. Okay. So when I'm saying java.class path, that is why it is putting me to the bin folder. You understand me? Everybody got that? Yes, no?
So in that
Just give
case,
me a
that's
yes.
where the
Yeah.
the bin contains the binary for the JVM, like the virtual machine.
No. So Java Virtual Machine will pick up the .class file from bin folder and it will execute, obviously. But my question is, what I'm trying to say here is that whenever you are creating a .java file, that gets compiled into a .class file and that resides in a bin folder.
Yes, that's where
That's what I'm trying. Yeah. So when I say java.class.path, it is putting me to the bin folder. It is showing me to the bin folder. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the situation. All right. So what is the next one? It is 8. In this, I'm saying compare two numbers. It's a very simple thing. Here we are just trying to talk about different type of logical operators. So we have equals, we have not equals, we have less than, we have greater than, we have less than equals, we have greater than equals. Okay, these are different types of logical operators that we have, and that's how you can compare two numbers, two or more numbers. Then we are talking about the next one. It says compute the area of a polygon. Okay, compute the area of a polygon. Perfect. Again, you need to spend time to understand what is the formula of a polygon. Okay, so I think this one is Pavan, what is this guy? NS? Is it the sides? No, sides is this. Pavan, you there? I think he is not. No, Pavan is there. Okay, anyways, I think we can quickly look for it. So area of a polygon. Polygon, right? So I think to calculate area of polygon, 15 steps. There is some logic here which I have to understand. Okay, I think these are the sides, and that's the A, I believe so. The A is what is the 6. You know, this is the reason why giving a good naming convention is really necessary, because without a good naming convention, you will be struggling to exactly know what is that variable is all about. So giving a good naming convention is absolutely needed. I'll try to put the right name and then I'll put it there. But anyways, the formula is something like this, which needs a math.tan, okay, a tangent, which you can get from Java itself, and then you just have this particular formula. Pretty much, you can get it from Google itself, and then just try to implement it accordingly, and that's how you will be able to compute the area of a polygon, right? Okay, so then it comes to V3, video 3, assignment 1. Okay, very important concept about arrays. Okay, there are multiple different ways. I've shown you how you can create an array. You can create an array with this particular option where you are directly entering the number inside the array, as well as you're declaring the size of the array. So you have three different numbers added to the array, which means that the size of the array is 3. Okay, the index is 0, 1, 2, and the size of this array is 3. And what you're doing here is I'm just trying to, so how to verify the value exists in the given array. That's the situation. So I'm just looping around. There's a for each loop. And at each and every iteration, I'm seeing if that number is there or not. If that number is there or not. If it is there, just print out exist and then break out of the loop. You don't really want to keep on looping around when you already know that the number is there. Okay? And this is wrong. This is wrong, right? I should not break out of it because, okay, this is wrong, because if I'm breaking out of it now in the else part, then just at the very fast itself, if it's not finding, it will still break out. I want to iterate all over the arrays. Only then I want to break out. So I will just clear this out, and I will change the location of, sorry, I'll change this guy to 99. Okay, and I want to just run this. Run as Java application, and it says 19 does not exist, and then it exists, right? Perfect. And the first two iteration, it said that, and then finally it says it's there. But if I put a break here, guys, if I put a break here, I will not be looping till the end because I will be out in the first iteration itself. So try to understand when to put the break. Break means you're trying to come out of a loop, right? So break over here is absolutely not right, which I just fixed now. And you can see that you are getting 99 at the very end. Perfect. That's the video number 3, assignment number 1. Okay, next one is print the numbers from 1 to 100 in a reverse order, which is divisible by 9. It's a very simple one. You have to iterate from the top to bottom approach. So earlier we used to initialize I equals 0, I less than equals 10, 20, whatever. And then we used to say I plus plus. I plus plus means we are adding 1 to the I. That's what we were doing, right? Now it's exactly opposite. We want to start from 100 and we want to come down to 0. Okay, we want to come down to 0. I mean, less than 0, which is 1. Okay, and we want to ideally try to check if the number is visible by 9 or not. Okay, it is visible by 9 or not, correct? So what we can do is we can simply say I percentile 9 equals 0. If it is, then I will say that it is divisible by 9. Okay, else I will say nothing. I don't really have to give this guy here. I will just say print ln, and for each and every iteration I will get the values. Okay, I will get the values, and that's pretty much about it, right? I will go ahead and run this. And you can see that all these numbers are divisible by 9. Okay, can you guys tell me, is there a possibility how I can optimize this loop? Simple question. How I can optimize this loop? Anybody wants to try that? What do you mean by that? Optimizing this loop means, do you think that the loop is actually looping more than it is supposed to loop? What do you think about it, guys?
Maybe with while.
I'm sorry?
With while, not for or if.
No, no. Even with for loop, even with for loop, while and loop, while for, it will not make any difference at the end of the day you're looping. The question is how you can simply optimize this loop. Which means if
Added by 0.
no. I mean, we definitely understand that 9 is divisible by 9. 9 times 1 is 9. So what's the point for me to even loop from 9 to 0? So can I just say if I less than equals to 9, I know that 9 is divisible by 9. I know that. So if I just do that and run it, am I getting the same result? I am, right? So I just saved a millisecond of execution towards not running the loop for unnecessary 87654 till 0. This is a millisecond. Why am I talking about optimization? Because when you go for an interview, I'm not saying that in each and every interview you will face this, but in some of the good companies, okay, when you go for an interview, they will give you a problem and they will say, how do you think you can optimize this? Especially if you are, so they will give you a problem and you solve the problem. And as soon as you solve the problem, maybe that solution involves some looping. And as soon as they see a looping, they will ask you, where do you think you can optimize this? So you can think about it and then you can figure out how can you optimize this. It's called optimization. There is a concept of logging. So if you guys are interested, read about ON square.
Can I also ask?
Yeah, go on.
Does it have to be with the local variable and the global variable? If the number of, if you use a certain number more, it should be inside the loop, and the least number being used should be out of the loop.
How do you mean? I mean, it doesn't really make sense. Why do you think like that?
I'm just asking because if it is global variable or local variable, do you have to initialize both of them, or it just you keep in the local variable?
It depends on case-to-case basis. I mean, it really doesn't really matter whether you are, so it is a case-to-case basis, right? So what I mean by that, if you have to work on a local variable, so what here Abraham is trying to talk about is that there could be a possibility to create a variable right there in within a method. So for example, right here within a main method, I can go ahead and I can say int num1 equals 100. That's my local variable. What do I mean by that? I mean the scope of this variable, num1 is within this bracket, this one and this one and this one. Okay, it is within this bracket, right? It will not be accessed. This num1 variable will not be accessed, cannot be accessed out of that main method scope. On the other hand, if I want, I can create a global variable saying int num1 equals 200. And you see, I don't have a problem. I have a int num1 200. I have int num1 100. I get an error, not an error. a warning saying the value. Okay, this is not even the warning is something else. The warning says the value of local variable num1 is not even used, but you can easily understand that num1 and num1, they're in two different spaces. They can exist. They can exist together. So I can idly say that num1 equals num1. If I say that, that will be a problem. I cannot say that because now it is confused with the fact that what exactly I'm trying to do. I'm trying to initialize num1 with num1. It's not possible. I cannot do that. But for other methods in the class, in this class, they can easily access num1. All the classes, all the methods can easily access num1, which is discussed globally, and this one will not be accessible, obviously, right? So that's the situation. Okay. So now the point is, coming back to your question, I don't really think that it has anything to do with how bigger the number is. Whether and depending on that, you can decide whether you want to put it against a local variable or a global variable. It is always depending on what is the use case behind it. I mean, why do you want to have a local variable? What is the purpose of it? And that's how you decide ideally. Otherwise, there is no more difference. I hope that answers your question. So let's move on quickly to the other one, video 3. What is this? It says print multiples of 4 using a while loop. Again, very simple, right? So I just say a start number 4 and the end number is 100. Okay. And then you see start number is 4. Why 4? Because I am talking about multiples of 4. So obviously I don't want to start my loop from 1. I want to start from 4. So while start less than end number, while it is start number is less than end number, we will keep on looping, and we will say that if the number is we will just simply add that number with 4. If I add the number with 4, then obviously that number is divisible by 4. We understand that, so we can do that, or it's a multiple of 4. Yeah, that's pretty much about it, right? I can probably do this with a modulus as well, right? Anyways, the video number 3, assignment number 4. This is print 1 to 10 multiplication table. Okay, very simple again. I'm using a for loop within a for loop. You see, it's a nested for loop. A for loop within a for loop. The first one is here to just take care of the first iteration, let's say 1 to 10, and the next one is trying to, the inner one is trying to multiply this value of I into j. So I've created 2 loops, the first loop and the second loop. The first loop is having I, I'm initializing it with I. The second loop, I'm initializing it with j, right? And then I simply say this guy over here. So I say I times j equals I into j. I will probably put this in a bracket to make it more precise. And if I do that, then I will easily say that it is, the multiplication table I can print. So I'll just run this now. And you can see that I have got all the result here, right from 1 to 10. You see that? So this one is taking care of the first guy, the first loop, and this guy is the second loop. Is this making sense, everybody? This is the inner loop concept or nested loop concept. Francily, Ibrahim, Moses, Shane, Toby, is it making sense? Wale, is it making sense? Just give me a yes, no, please. Okay. All right. Not getting yes from everybody. Are you guys with me? Or do you want some inputs? Okay, fine. That's with that done. All right. Lastly, we have, so this is that. Then V4. In V4, video 4, wait a minute, video 4 assignment? Not this video 4 assignment, yeah. In video 4 assignment, we have the main method. In the main method, we have, it says, compute the program which adds all the given numbers. Solution already provided in your material, okay? So this is what we have. You have a method. We have created a method, and this is basically a var args, okay? What we are trying to do here is this guy, just the side where you have to compute. Oh, okay, okay, no problem. I'll just go over that 1 minute, Abraham. Yeah. So, okay, let's debug this. Let's debug this together. If you have a
Sorry,
doubt, yeah.
are you talking to me?
No, to Ibrahim.
Yeah.
So I will quickly run this, and let's just debug this and figure this out. Okay. So what's happening? This is my first iteration ever. So right at this moment, if I hover my mouse on the variable, this is, okay guys, you have to understand one thing. Debugging is your friend. You cannot escape out of debugging. You have to learn debugging along with me so that you can understand that what mistakes you are doing. How do you get a debugging done? It's very simple. I'll show this to you right now. And I think I have shown this in the video as well, but I'll show it to you here as well. So for example, you want to inspect what's happening on a particular line, okay? A line that contains some kind of a computation or some kind of a statement. You go ahead and you put your breakpoint. It's called a breakpoint. So you double click on this bar, and that gives you a breakpoint, you see, okay? This is a breakpoint, which means it's a pausing mechanism for your execution in order to inspect what's going on in the variables, okay? What's going on in the variables, you have a pausing mechanism. Perfect. So I go ahead and run this. I am stopping in line number 12. I'm pausing in line number 12. This is just a pause. It's not a termination. It's a pause. All right. Now, if I hover my mouse, this mouse, on I get the value as 1, and then I hover my mouse on J, I get the value as 1 as well. What am I doing here? I say I times, this is a simple text, I times J equals is also a text, and this is my formula, I into J, right? So obviously it will print 1, and let's do it. So how do I do the debugging step by step? There is an icon here, right here. You see, step over or step into. There's a difference between step over and step into. For now, let us try to go over with step over. And I say this. And as soon as I do it, I get the print in my console. Okay. Now you see the green bar didn't go to the first guy, the first loop. No, because for one loop, for one iteration, the inner loop will iterate 10 times. For one such iteration, the inner loop will iterate 10 times. So I am showing a green bar now over here. Perfectly fine. I'll go down one more time, and I am printing the next iteration. So this time I is still 1 and J is 2 because J got incremented by this. Perfect. And then I go ahead and run this again, and that prints me I times 2. And this loop keeps on happening unless I hit the entire series of 10 outer loop and 10 inner loop. Is this clear to everybody? It's called nested iteration or nested looping. Is it clear to everybody? You can do this looping in any kind of loop ideally. You can do it for loop, while loop, for each loop, any kind of loop can be used as a nested loop. Am I making sense for everybody? Give me a yes, no. I hope.
Yes, of course.
Or if you have any question. Perfect, good stuff. So that's that. Let me see one thing. Just give me one quick second, okay? Okay, I'm back. So that's with that. Next is this guy, where I am talking about this particular situation, which is my var args, right? This is called var args. This is a method. This guy is a method. Add number, add numbers. This is a method. Okay, I have spoken about method as well. This guy is having only one parameter, and which is int dot dot dot, and then you give a space, and then you give nums. This is how you declare a var args parameter. I have also told you that in the video that the var args parameter in a method should be the last argument in that method. Suppose you have a method, I don't know, I'm just giving some method, some method, okay? And this method is having, or this method requires some parameters. It could be a string, it could be a string name, int, I don't know, weight, and then I can say int dot dot dot, and then I can say give a space, and then I can say the actual variable name. I'll say nums, just saying randomly. So you have to understand that this guy right here, should be the last guy in the method. This is what you have to make sure, okay? You cannot keep the var args as the first parameter, and that's pretty much about that you should be taking care of. All right, so let me clear my drawings, and now what happens is that I am simply looping around, because I am this guy over here that I'm getting, it is actually getting, I mean, it's actually coming inside the method add numbers as if this is an array. As if this is an array. Let us debug, and I'll prove it to you. I'll put a breakpoint line number 12, and I'll just go ahead and kick this off. So debug as Java application. And if I do that, I will hit line number 10. Okay, I'm running the wrong program, sorry. Let me stop this guy. This guy over here, debug as Java application. Okay, I'm in line number 12. And if I hover in nums, I'm going to also show you one more thing. Either you can go ahead and hover on a variable like this, and that gives you something, that gives you the runtime values, or there's one more option. It's called watch. So you double click on this, you say right click on this, and you say watch. Okay, these are the facilities that you get out of an IDE or an editor like Eclipse or IntelliJ. Okay, without these, you will not be able to write your program. As simple as that. So I say watch, and if I say watch, you will see an expression window that will be opened that talks about that particular variable that you're trying to watch right now during the runtime, and that shows you what's going inside the array. Make sense? What's going inside the array, right? And you see, this is an array, and what I do is very simple. I keep on adding them and putting them to a temp variable. That's all am I doing. So if I just go ahead and run this, so for each loop, and I'm just adding them to the temporary variable, I keep on adding them to the temporary variable, all of them, and this temporary variable keeps on growing because I'm adding them to the temporary variable, and then I will simply finish my loop like so. Okay, and that gives me the whole value of it, right? So the logic is very simple. You can understand, I hope, the logic. The logic is actually very, very simple. Let me try to make it even simpler. So when I am starting my loop for the first time in this loop, the first value over here, I goes to the num, okay? And the temporary value is 0, as you can see, correct? I goes to the num and temporary value is 0. Perfectly fine. I add them up. So 1 plus 0 is 1. And I add them up and then I put that to the temporary variable again. Correct? Now, the second guy is here. Second guy is 23. That comes to num. And the temporary variable value is not 0 anymore, but it is 1, right? Because that was stored earlier. So 23 plus 1 is 24, and that gets stored to temp. Similarly, this loop keeps on happening until it reaches the last number. That's the logic. Very simple logic. Let me clear my drawings, and that's pretty much about it for week number 1 assignments. Am I making sense, guys? All of these assignments are quite simple to understand. Are you guys okay with that? I will put this folder, this whole folder, in the assignments folder, our assignments folder, and that will help you to go over it again, obviously, right? And that's pretty much about it for week number 1. All right. So we are almost 1 hour in. We have another hour and a half, or maybe a little less, to complete the rest of it. So do you guys want to take a quick break and come back, like 5 minutes?
Yes,
Or you want?
it'll be fine.
Perfectly fine then. So let's join back in just 5 minutes. It's now 11:04 here. I'll come back at 11:10, and then we'll get started from here. All right. Thanks. All right. So we are then now getting started with the week 2 situation. All right. Let's go back to our application. By the way, guys, how are you guys getting along with this application? I see a few quizzes coming in from you, and I'm really, really happy that you guys are putting time to complete the quiz. The quiz and this panel that you see that I have given you, please try to use it wisely, because it will definitely help you. If you want to open it in a different screen, just click on this REPL that opens up here. You can watch the methods that I have already implemented. Let me just refresh the page. Yeah. So what happens with this REPL is you can unblock one single method at a time, and then you can execute the program. Okay, it is really, really going to help you. So for example, this one, program var args, this is already given to you in the assignment. If you want to execute it, so you will just call this method, you will just enable this method like this, uncommented, and you just triggered the run. You just triggered the run from this run button. And if you just run this in your console up here, you see the result. So basically you just go down and you see this is how I have implemented that particular program, and it gives you some kind of an information. I mean, that gives you the result. So whatever method you want to, enable, just comment it out and uncomment the respective method, and you can do it. The whole purpose of giving this console to you is that you can learn everything from your browser itself, and you don't really have to go to Eclipse every time and get done with your task. So some chats coming in. Like one video. Okay. All right. So what do you guys think about this panel? Are you guys using it, or you guys are not using it? What do you think about it? Toby, have you tried this?
You mean the Wisdom QA browser, right?
Yeah, I mean, this particular repo practice section that I have included under each and every videos. Are you guys trying that? Are you guys using that?
Oh yeah, I haven't used the practice, but I like the quiz, the assessment side of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't done the practice.
So do the practice. The reason for that is when you are watching the videos, the whole reason for that is that when you watch the videos, you can easily come down to this REPL and you can exactly mimic that. So you don't have to even write a single line of code. You just have to comment or uncomment to figure out and then run it. And then you just have to, ideally will know what's going on. I really want to know from every one of you guys here. I have around 10 members today. I want to know what's going on with this repo. Are you guys liking it, or are you guys not even using it?
So Vic, you know what I do instead? And I wonder if it's the same thing. So I have two laptops. One is installed with Eclipse and Selenium. So I just practice what you're doing so I watch you on one laptop and I'm practicing it on another laptop on Eclipse.
Okay.
Is that basically the same thing as this practice area?
Okay.
Yeah, I do something similar as well, but I don't have two screens because I'm at home. But yeah, I just use Eclipse as well, just to get familiar, just typing out the code as you're speaking in or trying something similar as you're speaking in the videos.
Yeah. So you can definitely do that, but you can do that inside the REPL as well. So this code that I'm talking about right now, it can be changed. So you can go ahead and you can write something over here.
Yeah, I just noticed that I noticed it there on Thursday and Friday that it's a lot quicker to use that as well. The REPL there, as you said.
Yeah, so you can do that, and then it will help you to start working on it, and then you can easily understand what the program is doing. And so especially this program that I'm right now writing, these are Java-based programs, and these are small code snippets that I have given you guys. And later on, I have also figured out a mechanism using which I can write a Selenium script inside this. You understand? So which means when you run the program, you will see a small window of a browser that opens up inside this panel, or maybe inside this panel over here, and you can see that execution is happening. And that will make you understand, that will make you go through the code again in this REPL and see that, how have I done that? So this is the situation, right? So I would really encourage that you do it, and quiz program is also there, so please get done with that as well. That gives me an understanding that how much you have learned and I immediately come back to you saying what's going on, right? So that's the situation. And next, we will quickly talk about the class, sorry, week 2. So
suppose, yeah, just a comment. I just put in a comment there. It's I suppose what it's quite time consuming. I didn't realize it was even from the first week. By the time you watch all the videos, and I think all the guys will agree, and you do the multiple choice questions. Like I never got on to doing really any real assignments. I just watched all the videos, practice some code, and I did the multiple choice questions. But yeah, I think the only way to tackle it really is if you started, like, say on you know, I've a small family as well, and I'm quite busy at work. You know, I'd be working, say, from 8, anytime from 8 until 6. So I think the only time I can really tackle this is if I do it early on in the week. Really, so, you know, say like start on Monday, force myself to start it on Monday, or I won't get it completed. Like I haven't many of the assignments done from like I've watched all the videos and I've done the multiple choice questions, but spent a fair bit of time doing it. So I think the only way of doing it really is to force yourself to do it early in the week, or it'll just build up, like you said there in your in your email.
Exactly, because the point is that we have a lot to catch. There are 12 modules and a lot of information here that I'm giving it to you. So later on, you will see that things are even more getting complicated, and to keep up that pace, your fundamentals should be strong. And which is why at the earlier stage, if you're putting more effort, I'm pretty sure that in the later stage, I'm saying like 1 month down, you will be quite familiarized with what exactly I'm showing and how you can tackle that. So number of assignments that I give at the initial stage is more, because I want your foundation to be strong for Java. And then when we hit the Selenium, we try to give a little bit less assignments, and then we are giving multiple choice questions easily to keep you motivated and to evaluate yourself to figure out where you stand with that particular topic. But yes, it is a lot of information, and that's the reason why it is a 4-month course. It's a full stack test automation course where you do everything as a QA. You're just not going and saying that I am good at mobile or web application automation. No, you're going and you're saying that I'm a full stack QA engineer. I know how to write backend scenarios. I know how to write front-end scenarios. I know how to work with Jenkins. I know how to work with Git. I know how to work with Maven. I know how to work with Docker. So you are going to a company and you are able to deliver from the day 1 or maybe week 1, because to understand the process, you will take a week or so, and then you can just immediately jump in and start working on it. That's what this course is all about. I want you guys to completely get the structure of what we do as a QA engineer, and that's exactly what this course is all about. So yeah, at the initial stage, you have to spend more time. Later on, when you are kind of accustomed with my teaching style, things will be much easier to handle, I suppose. Let's move on to the week 2, and this is where we get started with the week 2 class 5. And let me go to my assignments folder. Here I have the PDF. Let's quickly look into it. So what am I talking about in this particular class? I'm talking about Java class. It is the building block of everything that you learn. What is a class? Class is nothing but a template that you are going to use in order to create multiple instances of that particular template. What do I mean by that? I am creating a car, as you can see it here. I am creating a particular car template, okay? And this car template is having some properties: brand, model, engine size, capacity. Okay, these are my, I will not say properties, these are my attributes. Okay, these are my attributes that I have for the car, so that I can say that this car template that I have created will have these information. That's the first thing you want to do. Perfectly fine. And from that, you can then create n number of instances out of it. Okay, you can create n number of instances out of it. You are not saying anything over here in the class saying what exactly is the brand or the model or whatever it is. You're not saying anything like that. You are going to just simply say that when you are creating an instance of the class. Okay, you are creating an instance of the class with a very, very simple syntax, and the syntax is car, and you just say any car. I'll say Suzuki equals new car. That's the very simple instance creation that you can see here. So I'm just creating a car class, and I am creating an instance out of it. As soon as I do that, if you remember, I have spoken about it in the video as well. What you are doing is you are creating basically an instance variable like so, and you are storing that instance variable in your memory, saying this space is for Suzuki. Okay, this space is for Suzuki. This guy is stored inside the memory, and whatever operations are related to this particular Suzuki instance will be residing inside the Suzuki instance, Suzuki object, whatever you are doing, which means the data that you are specifying for Suzuki will be within the Suzuki instance itself. Okay, nobody is going to change that value, okay, or manipulate the value. Okay, so that's basically your Suzuki instance that you created out of a car class. Very, very simple. At the first slide, that's what I showed. Let's move on to the next one. How to create a class? Very simple syntax: public class car, and that's it. You are giving a scope with the flower brace. That's your car class with a scope. Perfectly fine. What are different class members? We have variables. We have methods. Ideally, there are 3 different types of members that you can fill in inside a class: variables, methods, and constructors. I've spoken about constructors later on, but ideally that's how you just say these are the variables, or you can say they are the attributes, and these are the methods, or you can say properties. So how do I say? So I'm a human being, and the human is a class, and I am Sovic. I'm derived out of that human class. I have a name. The human is having a property. The human is having a property which is a name, which is an occupation, which is a location, right? So I have a name which is Sovic. I have an occupation as a software engineer, and I'm in Dublin. So you see that I am. So you can read everything. You can edit everything to the class and instances from Java perspective, ideally, right? So that's the situation. So and the property, for example, human can eat, right? So obviously I have a property and I can eat, and I do eat, right? So that's the property that I have. So you can see you can easily relate everything to a Java class instance, and so on and so forth. Okay, what is an instance, class instance, and how to create one? I just spoke about that. With a new keyword, you can create an instance. Okay, with the new keyword. How to access the class members? Perfectly fine. As you can see, I can say car Volkswagen equals new car. That's the reference variable or instance variable. Sorry, it's a reference variable. My bad. And then I say Volkswagen.brand with the dot operator. You are accessing the actual attribute inside the car template. and you are giving some value to it. So that's how you're saying that Volkswagen.brand is the value called Volkswagen, model gold, engine size 1.5, sitting capacity 5. So these guys over here, right here, is the instance variable. Why? Because I am referring to these variables through an instance of the car class named as Volkswagen. This guy, on the other hand, we will call it as a reference variable. This is a reference variable, and this is an instance. This guy over here is an instance of car class. That's the reason why I will say this variable as an instance variable. Simple as that. There are some jargons that you will have to remember. And moving on, just feel free to stop me. So far, do you have any questions? Yes, no? Do you have any questions, please? Wale, do you have any questions? Right. Anybody else? Shane, Toby, Chidinma, any questions? Okay. All right. Good stuff. Moving on then. I will just stop me whenever you have a question. I will stop there, okay? Understanding Java object and memory management. This is something that you need to understand to make your fundamentals right. So as I said in the video as well, that, let me say, I am creating an instance. Hold on. So I am creating an instance of car like so, okay? So this car instance or reference variable Volkswagen. So you can see that guy is residing inside a heap memory. There are two different types of memories that you should be understanding. One is called a heap memory and one is called a stack memory. Okay, one is a heap memory, one is a stack memory. Simple. And then you are creating some instance or reference variable that is coming out of a particular class. So what I did is I created a particular instance called Volkswagen, okay? And then I also created something called as Aston Martin. That's fine. And then what did I do? So these two methods are having, these two classes are having two methods. One is basically a print car name. And I think I have another method over here, which is a main method. Okay, so this stack memory keeps on stacking the methods that are thrown at it in a last in, first out format. It's called LIFO, last in, first out, which means the first guy will be coming out last. So this is my first guy. The main method is going to be the first guy, obviously. So methods are getting stacked inside stack memory. Reference variables or instances are getting stacked, not stacked, but they are getting placed inside a heap memory. That's the bottom line. Okay, so the main method is a method which is going to be stacked inside the stack memory at the very bottom, and then the next method is a print car name. Okay, that is a part of the car class again. So now I have just created a car instance, and what I'm doing is, I am writing another line, and there is no harm in doing that. So this value, this reference variable, when I created, it got some space. It got some space, and that space is right here, the orange guy. That's the space that I got. Perfectly fine. Sorry, the blue guy. that's the guy that I got, the blue guy, not the orange guy. That's the reason I have mentioned it in blue color so that you can match the color and understand, right? That's the blue guy, perfectly fine. And then immediately I say something. What did I say? I say Volkswagen, that's this reference variable equals to new car again. I'm saying this again. Can I do it? Obviously I can do it. No one is stopping you from doing that. As soon as I do that, what's happening is another car reference got created, which is my orange guy. Okay. So what happens to this guy then, the blue guy? There is no pointer to it anymore. Nobody's pointing to it anymore, right? Because the space that was occupied by this blue guy is now not there anymore. I mean, it's there, but nobody is pointing. Nobody is actually taking care of it. So this variable, this Volkswagen variable, this reference variable is now pointing to the orange guy. It's not pointing to the new car again, the blue guy again. No, it's pointing to the new car, the orange guy now, because I have just created the same variable. I've just reinitialized the variable with new car. So when I say a new car, it's a new instance I'm creating again. And in that situation, what happens is Java garbage collector kicks in. I don't do it, you don't do it. That is handled automatically by Java. In other programming languages, and in C, I believe, C++, I believe, you have to kick in a Java garbage collector. But in Java, you don't do that. In such situation, Java will automatically take care of removing that space that is occupied by that blue guy, right? And that's how the garbage collection works. Am I making sense? Yeah, go on, please.
One question, please. You mentioned here that car Volkswagen, new car, it's blue one. Yeah. And after that, you wrote it Volkswagen in the orange, but you avoid the car name. Is it?
Yeah. So it's something like this, right? It's something like so. Let me try and say that. So
I mean, if I write again car Volkswagen, a new car, it's the same stuff, or
it's the same stuff. Same stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
No. You will not be able to do that. Why? Because in that case, in the same space, you're creating two different variables, and you cannot create the same name two different variables. So look at this. Look at this example. I got your question. Look at this question. Look at this example. So I have int num equals 0. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
I can say num equals 100. It is absolutely possible to do it. Am I right? Yes. No.
Yes.
Okay. Can I do this? Int num equals 100. Can I do it again in the same space?
No. Yes. Okay, I understand.
Why not? Because I will get a message from the compiler saying it's a duplicate variable created. That's
yes,
why.
I know that for the variables, but I didn't know that it's also have influence.
Yeah. At the end of the day, this guy is nothing but a variable. It's a reference variable.
Okay. Yes, you're right. Thank you.
Good stuff. Thank you. Good question. Okay. Sorry, Chidinma, I didn't get your question. If like set and subset, I didn't understand your question at all. Can you come in audio and let me know what your question is?
Hi, Suvik.
Hi, tell me.
Yeah, I mean, is it something like, in maths, they call it, that's what they call sets. Like when you have, for example, you have a circle, like a set, like a kind of data, and then you collect like an instance of that whole data. Is it what you're trying to say?
Is it, I mean, you're talking in terms of, you're talking referencing to which portion?
To this car, the car you're talking about, the car and the new instance of car, which is car Volkswagen equal to new car brackets.
Yeah. No, it has nothing to do with set. No.
Okay.
So what am I doing here is very simple thing, guys. I am simply creating a variable. How do I create a variable in Java? we just say it like this. We just say int or double or float, whatever it is, right? It's a Boolean, for example. Boolean status equals true. That's what I say, right? It's a very simple way to declare a variable in Java. Similarly, the same thing I'm doing, I'm creating a reference variable of car. I'm saying car. Just replace it with Boolean, car. I say Volkswagen. And I say equals new car. As soon as I do that, Java will be enabling a particular memory location to hold this particular folks guy somewhere. And you can presume that this guy is the blue guy right now. And then what am I doing? I'm immediately saying one more time, I'm immediately saying folks equals new car. And again, I'm saying that. As soon as I say that, what happens is another instance of car is getting created. You can say that's the orange guy. So which means now this variable folks is now pointing to the new car instance which got created by Java and not the old one. If not the old one, then what happens to the old one? Who takes care of it? Nobody's pointing to it. A memory location is created by Java, that's for sure, but nobody's pointing to it. Nobody's referencing it. There is no one there to take care of it. So that's where garbage collector kicks in and it deletes this memory location for you. It happens automatically. Is this making sense to everyone? It's a very, very important concept, especially to understand the fundamentals of how exactly Java works. If your fundamentals are strong, you will be you will have a very good career in programming. And guys, without programming, you are not surviving in IT. That's the bottom line. As a programmer or as a QA or as a developer, whatever it is. I mean, if you're working as a product owner or something like that, it's fine. But then in this particular field, without programming, no step ahead. As simple as that. So I'm just trying to understand. Are you guys understanding this concept? Very, very important concept. Ipshita, did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Toby, what's the problem?
I just got lost in the whole garbage collector thing. I was wondering if we can just do a quick recap, because there was a part where I couldn't really hear properly.
Okay. Do you understand? I'm just trying to make your life easy by pointing things one by one. So just give me a yes or no, and that will help me to understand what's your situation like. So do you understand this situation first? Yes, no. The one that I just highlighted there. Do you understand that? Car, Volkswagen equals new car. Sorry?
So you're basically giving the Volkswagen the variable. That's the name of the new car?
Yeah. So new car is what? It's an instance, right?
Yeah.
Creating an instance of the car class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as I do that, what happens is in the Java heap memory, this Volkswagen variable will acquire some space. Am I saying that right? Any variable that you create in Java will acquire some space.
Mm-hmm.
So this space is then associated with the Volkswagen. Perfectly fine, which is pointing to this guy, which is my new car over here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a variable. That variable is containing some data, and that data is nothing but a new car instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Now, if you understand that, now what I did in the next line is very simple, which is I am immediately again pointing that variable to another car instance. I can easily do that. If I can say this, int num equals 100 or 200, and then immediately I can say num equals 400. I can say that, right?
Yeah.
What will happen? What will happen if I say num equals 400? What will happen? The value of num will be updated with the new value 400, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, exactly similarly, I can just say the same thing. I can say Volkswagen equals new car again. So the value of Volkswagen is now replaced or updated with a new car instance that I'm pointing to. So which means this Volkswagen variable is not pointing to the blue car instance anymore, but the orange car instance.
Okay.
My question is, so my question is that the space that was occupied by the blue car instance inside the heap memory right here, what happens to that? Because when an instance is created, that instance is going to be located inside the heap memory. And if you are not handling it, if your variable, if a variable is not pointing to a particular instance, what will happen? What will happen is garbage collector will be kicking in, and it will remove this unclaimed space out of the heap memory. That's all.
Is it possible for it to be in the heap memory and the stack memory? Or
Heap
sorry,
memory
is it
is
possible?
for,
Yeah.
yeah, go on.
Is it possible for it to be in the blue memory and then the orange memory as well?
No, as I said, every time you create an instance, they will have their own space. Instance will have their own space inside heap memory, our own small world, and nobody is coming out sharing that space with them. It's their own space.
Okay.
Heap memory is to store instance variables or instances. Stack memory is to store the methods.
Got
Stack
it.
memory will decide in which order the methods are being called. So obviously, when a particular program runs, the first thing that runs is the main method that comes at the very bottom, the first guy. And the second guy is the print car name, or so and so forth. The number of methods that you have added inside the class will be taken care accordingly. So there are two different guys altogether. Am I making sense now to you?
Yeah. What's the significance of like the different colors in the heap memory? Why is one blue? Why is one orange? Why is one green?
As I said, the first guy is the new car, which is something that I have represented as a blue guy, so that I can make you understand that this blue guy is the first car instance I have created, and it is occupying some space inside the heap memory. And then immediately I am creating another car instance, and I'm associating that with the orange block over here. There is no significance from Java perspective. It is a significance that I am trying to create to make you understand what's going behind.
Gotcha. Okay.
And this guy is a green guy. This guy is a green guy, which is a separate guy altogether, because this is not Volkswagen. This is Aston Martin. So they have nothing to do with the blue and orange.
Perfect.
Am I crystal clear on this? Yes, no, everybody. I think I cannot be clearer than this. Guys, yes or no? All right. Very good. Perfectly fine then. Super. Good. Are you guys liking the way I'm explaining things, or should I take more examples, or what should I do so that I can help you to understand this better?
I think maybe even every once in a while to hear us recap it. Like if we understand the concept, yeah.
You mean in the Eclipse, or you mean in the slides?
No, I just mean as the class is going on,
Okay.
if somebody says they understand, maybe even from their simpler understanding or the way they word it, we might understand it as well, you know?
Okay.
Because you're probably gonna explain it more advanced. I know you're trying to break it down for us, but every once in a while, if we understand the concept, if we can kind of like summarize what you're saying to make sure that we're actually getting it. Yeah.
So, okay, makes sense. Okay, we can do that. Okay, what are methods and what is usage? It's something that I have already told you in the video. Methods are basically the properties that you add into a particular class. So a method is basically a statement. Why do I need a method? The main reason for having a method is the concept called dry. Do not repeat yourself, which means if you have a statement, just give me a second. Just give me a second. So method is nothing but a simple block that you're creating and you giving a name to that particular method. And then what happens? What happens is you are then going to use that method in number of times, because you know that by creating a method and you are putting some statements inside the method, you have the possibility to call that method n number of times. By doing so, what happens? You're not going to rewrite the program every time. So for example, to add two numbers, you're trying to add two numbers, and you have a possibility to just create that statement of adding two numbers inside the method, give a method a name, say add number or something like that, and then call that method n number of times. And call that method n number of times to keep on performing the addition of two number over and over again. That's the main reason why you need a method. Method can have different forms. So you can see that a method that I have created over here is different than the method that I have created below. So let me try and show that to you. So you can see this is a method that I have. This is a method that I have. This method is just there to do one task. And the task is to simply print out the name of the brand of the car. So print brand name, give a logical name to the method, okay? And say print brand name, and that will print the brand name for you, okay? That's the only task that method is having, but it is still a method. It's still a method. How do you call this method? It's very simple. You first create an instance of your car, Volkswagen. You give some values inside it, and you want to print the value. How do you do that? You just say Volkswagen using the dot operator. You just call the method like so, okay, like so. And as soon as you do that, n number of times you keep on calling the method, it will always give you the same result over and over again. How will it know the name of the brand? How will it know the brand value? Because just in the previous line over here, you can see I'm putting the value Volkswagen inside the brand variable. Inside the brand variable, I'm putting some value. And then if I keep on calling the method print brand name, it will keep on printing the same value over and over again. And that's how you will be using your first method. Another method. So the difference between the first method and the second method is the first method is having a return type which is void, which means the method will not going to return any information. It is just going to simply print or simply going to perform some task, and that's pretty much about it. It will not do anything more than that, right? Then next we have is a method that returns some information. So I have created a method called getModelName, and this method returns me a string type of information, a string type of information. So how can you return some data out of it? So let me first clear out my drawings because it's looking clumsy. Now you can see I say return model. So the keyword is return and the model. How do I get the model? Obviously the same way I got the brand, and it says Volkswagen.model equals golf, and I say return model, and I get the value out of it. Whoever calls it will get the value out of it, right? Just give me a quick sec. Sorry, my bad. I got a call. Anyways, so return model, and that returns the information back to the caller. The caller is who? The caller is this guy, right? The caller is this guy. Volkswagen.get method name, get model name is going to is calling the value. But you see, Volkswagen.get model name, I called the method get model name, but I am not doing anything with it. Am I doing anything with it? No. I am just calling the method. The method is returning me some model name, but then what? I'm not doing anything. So if I want to do something with it, what will I have to do? Can you guys, if you have seen the video, you should be able to answer me this question. If I want to do something with the value that is returned back to the caller, what exactly I want to do with it? I mean, how I want to do with it? What can I do with it? Can you guys tell me that, please? Chidinma, can you help me with this answer? What do you think should be done with that value? How can we do that? Suppose I want to print this value, the model name, I want to print it. How can I do that?
I think you have to call in the main method this model variable.
What do you mean? It is a part of main method only, right?
On the left column, you have a where you calling this update. Sorry, get method name. Just you have declared a variable under method where you're calling Volkswagen dot
exactly. Exactly, you're right with that, right? So what I'll do is very simple. What he said is absolutely right. So what I'll do is I'll simply go ahead and say string, actually, let me move it somewhere here. String name or model name equals this guy, Volkswagen.getModelName. As soon as I do that, the variable value, the model value, is then stored inside the model name variable. And then what I do? I do a printout. So I say sysout, the model name. It is as simple as that. That's how I will be able to print it, right? Everybody is getting this? I'm feeling that I'm not getting that much of engagement from your side. Is it that I am talking too fast, or what's the situation like? I really want to help you guys, so I need to know what's going wrong, or if you're understanding it and not answering me, what's that?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe for the others to show in Eclipse directly. No. Maybe writing directly in code.
Do you want me to do that? Is that going to help?
Yes, I just suppose that. I don't know. Maybe it should be better for the others. I don't know.
Okay. Everybody agrees to that? Just give me a yes or no, please. I'm not getting any text in the chat either. Trying to digest. I follow. Okay. Shen is following. That's fine. Ibrahim, I don't know why you're trying to digest it, because you joined some time back, so I was thinking that you are already a little bit well versed. Do you think it will be worth focusing on the previous videos prior to this? Absolutely, Wale. Absolutely. I mean, the summary class is not there to go over a situation thinking that you don't know anything about the topic I'm talking about. The summary class is there assuming that you have enough time. So think about it. I have the videos, which are around 2 hours each, and you have the whole week. So I'm releasing 3 videos, so 6 hours of video content. If you at least give 1 hour each day, not 1 hour, that'll be too less. As I said, you have to figure this out on your own. I mean, I really cannot manage the time for you, but it's something that you have to spend 10 to 15 hours who is starting new towards programming, and then from there you will be able to speed up more. Your learning will be definitely shaping up slowly, right? Yeah, exactly. So while I'm going to release the week 3 videos, all I have to do is I'll just go ahead and I'll enable your name, everybody's name, for week 3, and immediately you will go to the application and immediately you will see the week 3 after this class, right? After this class, you can see that. And you guys have to then start looking for it. But for you, Wale, because you're starting like 1 week, 2 weeks late, so you have to put a little more effort to catch up. Simple as that. Okay. All right. So that's the situation then. What are the methods and its usage? I just spoken about that. And then there's another method over here, which is this guy saying update seating capacity. So this method is there to update some information inside the variable seating capacity. You are going to update the variable information through something called as a parameter. Okay, int seats. That's the parameter that I have. So the method I will call is like so. Update seating capacity. I'm going to give the variable seats a value, say 5. And this 5 value that I have sent inside the update seating capacity is then channelized to the seating capacity variable, which is a part of the class car. And that's how the variable value gets updated. You know, so that's the whole 3 different types of methods that you will be ideally working with ever. So I'll clear my drawings. Let's move on to the next one. Understanding scope. I have just spoken about that in a minute back. So it says global scope and the local scope. The local scope means very simple. Local scope means that the scope of this variable is just within this particular method itself. And the global scope is a variable that you created in the global section on the top Okay, and these variables are then accessible to any method or constructors because it's in a global scope, which means these variables can be accessed anywhere within the class by any method, as simple as that, right? So that's my week 2 first video or the first summary thing, right? Let's move on to the next one. So I'll quickly go to my week 2 class 6, and in here we have class 6 assignments. I mean PDF. Okay, perfect. We are starting with the Selenium. Okay, Selenium is what we have to learn here. So what is Selenium? Selenium is, I've spoken about all these guys. Don't want to spend time with it. It's the open source browser automation tool. Bottom line, it will help you to automate web applications. That's the bottom line. There are 3 different types of Selenium flavors. One is IDE, which is a add-on, a web driver. That is what we are going to learn here. It's an API, and Grid is also one more API that will help us to run the test in parallel mode. We will do this last, at the very end of our course. When we learn about Docker, I will be showing you how you can trigger multiple test cases in different Docker instances parallelly, and you will be able to get the execution done much, much faster. Okay, that's the Selenium Grid. Perfectly fine. How does Selenium works? It's a very simple thing. It's a web driver is what we are learning. It is a jar file. It's a jar file, Java archive file. What is Java archive file? I have explained that in the video while I have set up the Selenium for you. Can you guys tell me what is a Java archive file? Toby, what is a Java archive file?
Sorry, I was on mute. A Java archive file is it's what essentially allows it to run the piece of code to run. Is that what it runs on?
No. So if this is the answer, then you have to modify the answer. This is not the right answer. As simple as that. So Java archive file is a zipped or compressed version of all .class files. We have .java files that brings the whole that you write, and then when Eclipse compiles it, it becomes a .class file, and multiple of those class files together becomes a jar file, JAR, or Java archive file. This jar file that you create is basically having a compiled version of all the class files, and this jar file is then given to another user as it is, and then they can start using those compressed class files inside their project. So for example, Selenium web driver that I have here, okay, that is having a .jar file. I have shown this while installing, okay, is having a .jar file. You simply hook this jar file into your project. That's your project. So this jar file you download from your Selenium HQ selenium.dev website. That's their official website. From there you download the jar file, and then you simply hook that inside your project. That's your project. And as soon as you do that, all the classes, all the methods that are added as a part of the jar file is going to be there for you to use in your program however you want to use. Am I making sense? Yes, no? Okay. No, Ibrahim, you were wrong. It keeps file, text, images into one file or for distribution. No. No. So jar file is just holding dot class files. That's it. No text and stuff. Okay. All right. So, well, once you are hooking your, it's a library, Kate. Exactly right. It's a library from programming standpoint. From programming standpoint, we call it as a library. Library where you have all these class files together. Okay. Very good answer. Good. So we have WebDriver. WebDriver is a server. You can say it's a server which is standing there to serve some request. As simple as that. I said this WebDriver jar file you're hooking into your project, and then the server, when you run a program, the server is now standing and waiting for you to send some request. On the extreme left, you have test. So the test, you have a particular method, and the method is, for example, dot click method. Okay, dot click method. This dot click method is a method that will be used in order to click on a particular web element. An element in the web page is called as a web element, and you will be clicking on that web element because you want to perform some action in the web page. That's the test case that you have. As soon as you do that, what happens is the information of the click is sent, or the information of that click action is sent to the server using a protocol called as JSON wire protocol. What is JSON? JSON means JavaScript object notation. Okay? JavaScript object notation is JSON. Okay? How do JSON look like? In today's world, 99% data is transmitted from one end to the other end through JSON format. If not 99, at least 95. Okay, so I'll show you what is JSON. What does JSON look like? So JSON, so images. So you can see the JSON basically looks like something like this. It's a specific format in which a data is transmitted from one end to the other end of a system, of two different systems. Okay, so we will learn in details when we start working on JSON in the framework, and then we learn more on them when we implement our backend services. We will learn more about that. So in JSON, ideally, the data are structured in a key and a value pair format. It's a key, this is a key, and that's a value in a key and a value pair format. You will know about key and value pair more when we talk about collections, Java collections. So it is a key and a value pair. So when I say, give me the description is the key, I get the value as quarter, right? So it's a key and the value pair format. This is the JSON format ideally. So when I perform the click action, in my in my test, through my test, the information for performing the click action is sent to the server, the WebDriver server, okay? Using this protocol, we call it as JSON wire protocol, through which the JSON information is sent to the WebDriver server. Perfectly fine. Okay. So once this information is received by the server, it then forwards it to the browser inside which the action takes place. Okay. It basically tries to perform some kind of a JavaScript action in the browser in order to perform a .click operation. So if you actually see, if you actually try to Google this, say how to click an element using JavaScript. Simple. Look at this. So you can see that there is a JavaScript function called click. You can see that there's a JavaScript function called click. Let me try and put this in here. So it says document is nothing but the HTML document dot get element by ID. That means the element, the actual element, dot click, okay, is a method which is implemented in JavaScript already. So ideally, what's happening here is that when you are performing a dot click operation from your test, ideally behind the scene, after the JSON wire protocol is done, your JavaScript is getting kicked in to call a dot click operation, okay, inside the browser that we are trying to, inside the web application that we are trying to automate, right? So let me quickly clear my drawing. Okay. So let's move on. And then browser, in the browser, the operation will happen. And then what will happen is browser will respond back to you with a status, whether the operation was successful or not. And once it is responding back with an operation, you will see that your test will be now moving to the next step. Ideally, the whole send and receive happens for one interaction. And then if the interaction is successful, you move to the next step. And that's how your test case works. How does Selenium work? If you can explain this situation, saying JSON wire protocol, saying a server, saying the browser interaction, then you're good with that. Okay, fine. By the way, the server that we are talking about, it's a REST API server. What is REST API? It's called REST, means representational state transfer. You will know about REST when I start talking about your information, like when I start talking about the web service automation. You will know more about REST. For now, let's keep it simple. Understand Java jar. I'll not go with this. I have already spoken about that. Installing and configuring Selenium, it's very simple. You can do that just by downloading the jar file and adding it into the page, into the project. I've explained that. I hope it is straightforward. Can you guys give me a cheers that you have installed Selenium inside your project, or get the project attached with jar file? Yes, no? Ipshita, yes. Three yeses so far. What about REST 8? Toby? Ibrahim? Wale, I didn't get in this class yet. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So have you done this, or I think Toby is not there. No, he is there. Alan, have you done this? I don't believe I have. Okay. So you are definitely lacking behind, Toby. If I'm enabling week 3 for you, I don't know how soon you will be able to catch up. I will enable week 3 for everybody here, but try to catch up as soon as possible. Alan, what about you? Have you installed it? Have you got the jar attached to your project? Yes, no? Alan? Not sure if it's there. Anyways, so that's the part. I mean, that's the summary of class 6 there. Let's move on to the, okay. So in summary class, guys, just to make it simple for you, as I was saying about the REPL, I don't know how many of you guys have done this, but you should do it because I will keep on adding stuff. It's good for you to start using this tool as a reference. As you can see that when you are installing, once you open this up, you see, don't bother about, okay, one more thing. Whatever is happening in this particular file, I'm trying to put a comment for it. Please read the comment, okay, before you start executing it, okay? Please read the comment and then you start executing it. And you can see that I have, you know, just these guys, Chrome options, these things. For now, you can simply ignore it. These guys are required for me to run a test inside the same panel, okay? And then driver.get is what you should be ideally looking at. So what I'm trying to say here is if you run this program right now, you will see that a browser opens up inside this particular tool, REPL tool, and that's how your test runs. So ideally, I will keep on adding small test code to run for you, and you can, you know, easily see what's going on there. So it is downloading some dependencies. It takes a few minutes. For the first time when you run it, it takes some few minutes to download stuff there. Just 1 minute. Yeah, you can see that a particular section will be enabled. This is a Docker container, which is ideally running your test. You will see a browser opens up, a particular, so you're ideally running a test within a browser. Okay, this is a simple file to make you understand what exactly is driver.get command doing, nothing more than that. But eventually I will keep on adding small tests inside it, okay? But when you're running a web browser test, please make sure that once you run this program, you click on the stop button, okay? To stop the execution, okay? So just this file is very simple file for somebody to get accustomed with what exactly is happening. But let's move on to the next one, which is my class number 7. Okay. So in class number 7, what have I spoken about? I've spoken about come on. Okay, I've spoken about HTML and its basic architecture or structure. Okay, instantiating WebDriver using Chrome driver, understanding browser console, discussing HTML tags and attributes, how to inspect web elements, creating basic automated test case. So this is a HTML architecture. Any web page that you open up, you will see a similar architecture. There is a HTML section and there is a body section. Inside the body, you basically have all your elements added there so that you can interact with it, right? So this is basically a very simple HTML structure. HTML tree that you can see here, I have said that this is my main window, the actual browser window. Inside that we have document, okay? And then you have HTML. So any web page that you open, this is the web page. And if I want to open it, I can just say inspect, inspect. And as soon as I say inspect, you will notice that it starts with, so you see doc type HTML, that means document type HTML. And then you have a HTML root, and that's the root of your web page inside which everything is there. And then there is 2 sections ideally. One is head, another one is body. Okay. What is this head and body? Body is basically containing your actual elements, that is something that you will be interacting with. And the head is basically containing some information about this particular page. For example, you can see that it is having the information about the title. Where is the title? Here. Okay, you see? Title HTML DOM click method. What is this title all about? If you hover on top of a tab, you will see the value coming in the tooltip as HTML DOM click method. You can see that. If I hover any tab, you see questions Google Sheet, or you see classics Google Drive. These are all the titles of a page. Okay, that is there in the header tag. Along with that, there are a lot of JavaScript links that are there in the header tag, JavaScript and CSS details. And lastly, what we have the body section. Inside that we have all these different HTML components that you want to interact with. So you have divs, we have h1 tags, we have paragraph, we have many such stuff there. Okay, so that's pretty much about what HTML looks like. And let's move on to the next one. Understanding browser dev tools. As I was talking about, there's a very good explanation I have given in the video. If you have not watched it, look into that now. So you see, okay, so you see that this is my browser console. In this browser console, there are a lot of different tabs that we have. Ideally, most of the cases, we will be working in this Elements tab. And later on, we will work on the Network tab. Okay, Elements and Network tab, I have explained to you what each and every tabs are needed for. I would like to know if you have any questions for me until so far, whatever I have discussed in last 10-20 minutes. Do you have any questions for me? So that I can give you the summary again. Any questions, please? In the chat, I'm expecting some answers, please. None from me. Okay. Alan, Ibrahim, Ipshida, no. Kate, Wale, Toby. Okay. Yeah, it does, Shane. Oh, okay, that's fine, Alan. No problem. Watch the summary class as well. By the way, guys, just to keep you updated, I have already sent the mail. I think you have seen that. So inside our folder of July, I have given the summary section recording. So all the videos that we are recording in the live summary class, those are not going to be attached to our usual application. Okay, this can be accessed directly from the Google Drive itself, or from the YouTube itself. So these are all YouTube links that I have shared here. Summary session. These are all YouTube links, and you will get the access to it for your reference. The class videos will be anyways there in the application itself, but not these guys. Okay, there's a technical reason behind it why I have done that, but let's get back to the class. So that's the browser dev tools. I have explained that. Different tabs. I have explained that. Understanding HTML tags. Okay, there are different type of HTML tags we have that we will be constantly working with. We'll work with anchor tag, which is nothing but a link or a reference. I mean, it's a normal link that you click and that takes you to another page, right? That's a link. Then we have an input tag. Input tags are basically a particular text box. Input tags can be of different types. Input tag with an attribute called text will be a text box. Input type with attribute called submit will be a button. Okay. Input tab. Yeah, bye, Ellen. So input tag with the type as radio will be a radio button. Okay. Then we have select tag. Select tags are needed for drop down elements. That's what I have explained there. So that's what there are a few HTML tags. I'm trying to show it to you here. There are many more that we will be constantly learning, but for now, just to keep you familiarized, these are the tags that you will be working on every day. Moving on, HTML attributes, as I was saying. So anchor is a tag. So any HTML component that we will be interacting with will have two components. Will have two components ideally. One is let me try and draw. One is the actual tag, which says what is that element all about, whether it is a button, whether it is a link, or whether it is what. It talks about that first. Second, we have attributes that gives a meaning to that particular input, to that particular tag that I'm referring to. So an anchor tag with a href, and this href is pointing to a particular link, will let us click on that particular link, which will take us to another page, right? Which will take us to another page. That is my href doing for me, right? Similarly, you have an input tag here, and then you have a type attribute, and then the type is saying text. So in HTML, it will be rendered. We call this keyword, please keep this in mind. The keyword is called rendering. Rendering or render. Okay. What is rendering? Render means when I am loading a page. When I am loading a page, right? The page is getting loaded and you are seeing some components in the page. Perfect. I'll give you a simple example. I'll give you an example with our own application. If you have not noticed, I think you have already noticed, some of you guys have noticed already, but let me show you something. I'll just go and open up my console over here. That's my dev console. And the dev console is so powerful. I want to show you something. only for this dev console, I have a provision to test my application, how my application will react when the connection is slow. It's highly possible that tomorrow you are opening this application from through an internet which is running very slow. And if that happens, how my application will perform? I want to test that. I can do that right there from my dev tool. What will I do? I'll go and click on this online tab here, and I'll say slow 3G. Do you see that? Slow 3G. Done. Now, what I'll do is I will open this course content. I will open this course content. If I click on this, you see what happens. I don't know if you have seen that. Actually, you know what? I'll make this offline so that you can see it. I made it offline as if this page is right now opened and you have no internet connection. Okay. And I click on this guy and you see that guy is loading there. Okay. So which means what? Which means the menu that holds the information about our class is not yet rendered. It's not yet rendered. If I make it online and refresh the page, it will be rendered and I see it. It's called rendering. Making sense? Everybody, yes, no? That's fine, Shane, no problem. Take care. Okay, this is called as rendering. So I'll just go and make it online, fast 3G. I'll refresh this page and I just go back to my class again and click on my course content. Once the page is loaded. And you see, I get the job done immediately because it rendered for me. So the keyword is called rendering, as I have mentioned there. And that's the situation, right? So depending on what is the type of the element, and what is the tag of the element, and what is the attribute you're adding there, depending on that, HTML will render the information. Okay. Then I've spoken about finding element. I have used this particular method, which is coming from Selenium itself. This is called driver.findElement method. And you say by.name email and send keys, and then send keys, you're just sending a particular text. So that's your normal send keys method. You're saying by email, by name is email, and you're sending keys. So that's you're finding an element with the name called email, and you're sending a text to it. Okay, and then you're performing a click on a button. The button is like this. Okay, you're clicking on the button. I've explained that too. And lastly, what we have is we have inspecting element. Inspecting element is a very simple task at the initial stage, but you have to know how to do it well. You can inspect the element through different type of locator strategies that we have. Ideally, you will click on this button over here and then click on any element that you want to inspect. And that will immediately point you to the location. So if you see, if I hover on my mouse on it, it's shown in blue, right? That's my element up there, and I want to know the locator of this particular element. So I can see div class so and so. That's my locator of this particular element. I've explained this very well in the video. Please go and take a look. And let me know if you have any questions. Creating a basic automation scenarios, I have also done that as a part of my video. And that's pretty much about it. I have not got time to talk about the assignments. The assignments are given to you in the respective class videos. So ideally, I will share this folder for week 2 as well. Let me say week 2. Okay, so week 2, video 5. And here are the assignments that we have given. I will give you the solutions. Please run it through and let me know if you have questions. I'm always there in the Slack. Just Slack me. Some people, I think this week, a few guys pinged me during the middle of the week, and I got them into a video call and I helped them out. So please feel free to do that. Until we are in the lockdown, I can do that because I'm also working. I have a full-time job as well, so I am able to somehow juggle between these two because I'm working from home. But once I'm in office, not sure how much I can do that. So you are in the batch where I can really help you guys during the middle of the week to overcome any kind of situation that you have. So I will upload this video, I will upload this assignments, and next week we'll come back with week 3. And please look into the assignments as well there. All right, that's pretty much what I have for today. Have a great week ahead, guys. Keep on learning, as I said, 10 to 15 hours a week. Please try to manage your time accordingly. I sincerely expect that you can at least find out those 15 hours a week. All right then, thanks a lot. Have a great week ahead, and see you guys next week, same time. Bye, everyone. Wale, if you have any questions, because you're catching up now, if you have any questions, please come back to me. Okay. Kate, do you want to stay back in the call for 2 minutes? Ibrahim, bye. Yes, I will tell you that as well, Kate. Just hold on for the class to over. Ibrahim, if you're done, you can leave. All right. Bhavan, you can leave too. All right. So Kate, it's you and me now. Just give me one quick second. Let me actually stop something there.